My name is Sofia Rodriguez. I am 35 years old, and for the past 8 years, my family has believed I work as a sales associate at Nordstrom in the Roosevelt Field Mall. They think I fold clothes. They think I help customers find the right size jeans. They think I make $15 an hour plus commission. They think I'm a failure. But sitting here at my younger brother Marco's business dinner, listening to him tell his wealthy investment partners that his older sister still works retail and lives with 3 roommates because she can't afford her own place, I'm about to show them exactly what kind of sales I've actually been making. Because in approximately 5 minutes, my encrypted FBI-issued phone is going to ring. It won't be my manager asking me to cover a shift. It will be the FBI Critical Incident Response Group, Code Red Activation, Active Hostage Situation, Federal Jurisdiction, and when 12 FBI agents in full tactical gear storm into this 5-star restaurant, when they address me as Special Agent Rodriguez, when my brother Googles my name and discovers that his retail worker sister is actually a decorated FBI hostage rescue team operator who's led over 60 high-risk operations and holds expert certifications in crisis negotiation, tactical breaching, and counterterrorism, Marco is going to wish he'd kept his condescending mouth shut. Subscribe to her mission stories if you've ever done dangerous work in secret while your family looked down on you. We honor women who risk everything while being dismissed by those who should support them. News story, every day, the year 2016. I was 27 years old. I had just earned my master's degree in criminal psychology from John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. I graduated summa cum laude. My thesis on hostage negotiation psychology was published in a law enforcement journal. I spoke 3 languages fluently: English, Spanish, and Arabic. I had every intention of joining the FBI. My family had different expectations. My father owned a successful construction company. My mother was a real estate agent. My younger brother Marco, who was 23 at the time, had just graduated from business school and started working at an investment firm. Marco was the golden child. Smart, ambitious, destined for success. I was the older sister who'd spent too much time in school. When I told my family I was applying to the FBI, their reactions were mixed. My father was skeptical. Sofia, the FBI? That's dangerous work. Why not use your psychology degree to become a therapist? Open a private practice. Make good money without the risk. I want to serve, Dad. I want to help people. You can help people without getting shot at. My mother was more direct. Sofia, you're 27. Your friends are getting married, having children, building real lives. And you want to chase criminals? It's what I've trained for, Mom. You've trained to help people's minds, not to run around with a gun. My brother Marco laughed outright. The FBI? Sofia, you cried during Toy Story 3. You're not exactly tough. I'm tougher than you think. Sure you are. Let me know how that works out for you. I applied anyway. The FBI application process is brutal. Written exams, physical fitness tests, interviews, background investigations, polygraph tests. It took 9 months. In January 2017, I received my acceptance letter. I was accepted into the FBI Academy at Quantico, Virginia. 20 weeks of intensive training. My family's reaction was underwhelming. That's great, honey, my mother said. When does it start? March. And how long is the training? 5 months. 5 months? Sofia, that's so long. Marco's company is giving him a promotion already. He's only been there 8 months. The comparison stung. But I went to Quantico anyway. The FBI Academy was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Physical training at 5 a.m., firearms training, tactical driving, defensive tactics, criminal law, investigative techniques, crisis negotiation. I excelled, particularly in crisis negotiation and tactical operations. I graduated in the top 10% of my class. When I came home after graduation, my family threw a small dinner. So you're an FBI agent now? My father asked. Yes. What will you be doing? I'm assigned to the New York field office. Criminal investigations. That sounds serious. It is. Margot leaned back in his chair. So what's the pay? I'm starting at $62,000. He laughed. 62,000? Sophia, I'm making $95,000 and I'm only 24. Good for you, Margot. I'm just saying, you spent all that time in school, all that training, and you're making less than me. It's not about the money. Everything's about money, sis. I learned that day that I would never be able to compete with Marco's success in my family's eyes. I started at the FBI New York field office in August 2017. My assignment was to the Violent Crimes Unit. I worked kidnappings, extortions, bank robberies, violent fugitives. I couldn't tell my family details. Most of my cases were sensitive. When they asked about work, I gave vague answers. It's busy, lots of paperwork, pretty routine. They assumed I was bored. The truth? I was tracking some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. Over the next 2 years, I worked over 40 cases. I helped rescue 3 kidnapping victims. I negotiated the peaceful surrender of 2 armed barricaded suspects. I assisted in the arrest of a serial bank robber who'd evaded capture for 5 years. And I earned a reputation as one of the best crisis negotiators in the New York office. In 2019, I was selected for specialized training. The FBI Critical Incident Response Group surges the FBI's elite tactical and crisis response unit. It includes the hostage rescue team, the FBI's equivalent of military special operations. I was invited to train with HRT as a crisis negotiator and tactical support agent. The training was 6 months. Tactical breaching, close quarters combat, advanced firearms, helicopter operations, hostage rescue tactics. I was one of only 3 women in the program. I graduated at the top of my class. By 2020, I was officially assigned to the Critical Incident Response Group. I was now a federal tactical operator. I led high-risk warrant executions. I negotiated with armed suspects. I breached doors in hostage situations. I coordinated multi-agency operations. And I earned commendations I could never show my family, because they still thought I was just a regular FBI agent doing paperwork. At Thanksgiving 2020, Marco announced he'd been promoted to vice president at his investment firm. He was 28 years old. He was making $250,000 a year. My parents were ecstatic. Vice president at 28. My father said, beaming. Marco, you're going places. Thanks, Dad. They turned to me. And how's work going for you, Sofia? It's good. Busy. Still with the FBI? Yes. Are you still doing the same thing? Investigations? More or less. My mother sighed. Sofia, don't you want to move up? Get promoted? Marco's already a VP. The FBI doesn't work like that, Mom. Promotions are based on time in service and performance. Well, maybe you should consider switching careers. You're 31 now. Time to think about stability. I am stable. You're living with roommates, Sofia. That's not stability. I live with roommates because I'm never home. I work 60-hour weeks. Doing what? I can't talk about it. Marco rolled his eyes. Always so secretive. It's the FBI, Sofia, not the CIA. You're not Jason Bourne. I didn't respond, because 3 days earlier, I'd been part of a tactical team that rescued 2 hostages from an armed kidnapper in Brooklyn. But I couldn't tell them that. In 2022, I was promoted to Supervisory Special Agent. I was now leading a team of crisis negotiators and tactical agents. I was 33 years old. I was making $110,000 a year, and I was one of the most respected operators in CRG. But my family had no idea, because I'd stopped trying to explain. I'd stopped trying to make them understand. So when they asked what I did, I started lying. I told them I'd left the FBI. I told them I was working retail at Nordstrom while I figured out my next move. You left the FBI? My father asked, disappointed. Yeah, it wasn't the right fit. So you're working at a mall? For now. Sophia, you're 34 years old. When are you going to get serious about your career? I am serious. Selling clothes is serious. It's temporary. They believed it completely. For the past year and a half, I've maintained the lie. When they ask about work, I complain about rude customers and low pay. They believe I'm struggling. They believe I'm lost. They believe I'm a failure. Meanwhile, I'm leading federal tactical operations. I've been involved in over 60 high-risk incidents. I've saved lives. I'd stopped terrorists. And I've earned 3 FBI medals for valor. But my family thinks I fold sweaters for $15 an hour. And then, 2 weeks ago, Marco invited me to dinner. A business dinner. He's trying to close a major investment deal. He wants to impress his potential partners. He asked me to come. Why do you want me there? I asked. Just come, Sophia. It'll be good for you to meet successful people. Maybe you'll get inspired. Inspired? I agreed to go. I had no idea Marco was planning to humiliate me. The dinner was scheduled for tonight. 7 p.m. at Le Bernardin, one of the most expensive restaurants in Manhattan. Marco was meeting with 3 potential investors. Wealthy men in their 50s, real estate, hedge funds, private equity. I wore a simple black dress. I arrived at 7 p.m. sharp. Marco was already seated with his guests. He waved me over. Gentlemen, this is my sister Sofia. They stood politely and shook my hand. Nice to meet you. Likewise. We sat down. Marco ordered a $400 bottle of wine. The conversation quickly turned to business. Marco was pitching an investment opportunity, some tech startup. I didn't really understand it, but the men seemed interested. After about 30 minutes, one of the investors turned to me. So, Sophia, what do you do? I hesitated. Marco answered before I could. Sophia works in retail at Nordstrom. In the mall. The man nodded politely. Oh, that's nice. Do you enjoy it? It's fine, Marco continued. She's been there for about a year. Before that, she worked for the FBI for a while, but it didn't work out. The FBI? Another investor said, interested. What did you do there? Just basic investigations. It wasn't a good fit, Marco laughed. She's being modest. She basically did paperwork. And then she realized it wasn't going anywhere, so she quit. The men looked at me with pity. Well, the investor said, retail is honest work. Exactly, Marco said. I keep telling her she should go back to school. Get an MBA or something. Make something of herself. Make something of herself. I felt my jaw tighten. One of the other investors chimed in. How old are you, Sophia, if you don't mind me asking? 35. And you're still working retail? For now? He exchanged a glance with the other men. It was a look of pity. Poor thing. Still figuring it out at 35. Marco kept talking. Yeah, she lives with 3 roommates in Queens. Can you believe that? 35 years old and she can't even afford her own place. The men said nothing. They just nodded sympathetically. I wanted to leave, but I stayed. Because something in me snapped. I pulled out my phone under the table. I opened my encrypted FBI messaging app. I sent a message to my unit supervisor. Need immediate tactical presence at my location. Personal matter. Request team standby. The response came 30 seconds later. What's the situation? I typed. Family emergency. Need visual confirmation of my credentials and position. There was a pause. Then, Rodriguez, are you serious? Yes, sir. I'm at a dinner where my family is telling people I work retail. I'd like to correct that. Another pause. Then, stand by. 2 minutes later, my phone rang. It was my supervisor, SSA Michael Torres. I stepped away from the table. Excuse me, I need to take this. I walked toward the restaurant entrance and answered, Torres, Rodriguez, what the hell are you doing? Sir, I'm at a family dinner. My brother is telling his business partners I'm a failure. I'm requesting a team presence to correct that. You want me to send a tactical team to a restaurant? Not a full team, sir, just a few agents, to confirm my identity and position. He sighed. Rodriguez, this is highly irregular. I know, sir, but I've been hiding my career from my family for years. I'm tired of it, and I'd like them to know the truth. There was a long pause. You're one of my best agents, Rodriguez. This is what you need, I'll make it happen. Thank you, sir. We have a team finishing a training exercise in Midtown. They're 10 minutes from your location. I'll redirect them. Thank you, sir. He hung up. I walked back to the table. Marco was still talking. Yeah, Sofia's been struggling for a while. I keep telling her she needs to get her act together. But I sat down. Actually, Marco, I need to tell you something. He looked annoyed. What? I don't work at Nordstrom. He laughed. What are you talking about? I never worked at Nordstrom. I lied. The table went silent. What do you mean you lied? Marco said. I mean, I'm still with the FBI. I never left. His face twisted in confusion. But you said. I said I left because you and Mom and Dad made me feel like a failure every time I talked about my real job, so I stopped talking about it. Marco's face flushed. Sofia, what are you doing? I'm telling the truth. One of the investors leaned forward. You're still with the FBI? Yes. Doing what? I can't discuss most of it. It's classified. But I'm a supervisory special agent with the Critical Incident Response Group. I lead tactical operations, hostage rescue, counterterrorism, crisis negotiation. The men stared at me. Marco laughed nervously. Sofia, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm not embarrassed, Marco. You are. My phone buzzed. A text from Torres. Team arriving in 2 minutes. They're coming in hot. Brace yourself. I stood up. Gentlemen, in about 90 seconds, 12 FBI agents are going to walk into this restaurant. They're going to be in full tactical gear. And they're going to address me as Special Agent Rodriguez. I wanted to give you a heads up so you don't panic. Marco's face went pale. What are you talking about? You'll see. Sofia, what did you do? I corrected your lies. Exactly 90 seconds later, the front door of the restaurant burst open. 12 FBI agents in full tactical gear stormed in. Black tactical vests, FBI logos, weapons holstered. Radios crackling, the entire restaurant went silent. Every head turned. The lead agent, a man I knew well named SSA Derek Chen, walked straight to our table. He looked at me. Special Agent Rodriguez. I stood up. Agent Chen. He handed me a tablet. Mom, we have a developing situation. Active hostage scenario in Newark. Subject is armed and barricaded with 3 civilians. SWAT is on scene, but they're requesting FBI negotiation support. CIRG wants you to lead. I took the tablet and reviewed the briefing. How long do I have? Helo's waiting at the downtown Manhattan heliport. We need you airborne in 15 minutes. I nodded. Understood. I turned to Marco. His face was white. The investors were staring. I looked at my brother. Marco, I don't work at Nordstrom. I'm a federal agent. I've been one for 8 years. And right now, I have to go save 3 people's lives. I turned to Agent Chin. Let's move. The 12 agents formed up around me. We walked toward the exit. As we passed tables, diners stared. Someone pulled out their phone and started recording. Marco finally found his voice. Sofia, wait. I stopped and turned back. What, Margot? I didn't know. You never asked. And I walked out. The FBI helicopter was waiting at the heliport. We lifted off at 8:47 p.m. By 9:15 p.m., I was on the ground in Newark. The scene was chaos. Police had cordoned off an entire block. SWAT team members were in position. News helicopters circled overhead. I was briefed by the Newark SWAT commander. Subject's name is Kevin Matthews, 38 years old, laid off from his job 3 months ago. Wife filed for divorce 2 weeks ago. He snapped this afternoon, took his wife, his mother-in-law, and his 6-year-old daughter hostage in his apartment. Is he armed? Yes. We believe he has a handgun. Neighbors reported hearing him fire 2 shots into the ceiling an hour ago. Has he made any demands? He wants his wife to drop the divorce. He says if she doesn't, he'll kill everyone in the apartment, including himself. Has anyone tried to negotiate? Our crisis negotiator tried. Matthews fired a shot at the window, said he'll only talk to someone who understands what it's like to lose everything. I nodded. I'll talk to him. The SWAT commander handed me a phone. This line is connected to his cell. Good luck. I took the phone. I stepped into the mobile command vehicle. I dialed. The phone rang 3 times. Then a man's voice answered. Who is this? My name is Sofia Rodriguez. I'm with the FBI. I'm a crisis negotiator. I'd like to talk to you, Kevin. There was a long pause. I don't want to talk to the FBI. I understand, but I'm here to listen. Can you tell me what's going on? What's going on? What's going on is my life is over. My wife is leaving me. My job is gone. I have nothing. You have your daughter, Kevin. He laughed bitterly. For now. Once the divorce is final, I'll barely see her. I understand you're in pain. You don't understand anything. I took a breath. Kevin, I know what it feels like to be dismissed by the people you love, to feel like you're not good enough, to feel invisible. He didn't respond. I continued. I've spent years having my family tell me I'm a failure, that I'm not as successful as my younger brother, that I'm wasting my life, so I stopped telling them the truth. I let them believe I was struggling, because it was easier than constantly being compared and coming up short. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know I get it. I understand the anger, the frustration, the feeling that no matter what you do, it's never enough. There was silence. Then Kevin spoke, his voice quieter. They don't see me. I know. My wife thinks I'm worthless. My daughter barely knows me. I feel like I'm already gone. You're not gone, Kevin. You're still here, and your daughter needs you. She doesn't need a failure. She doesn't need a perfect father, Kevin. She needs her father, the real one, the one who's in pain right now, the one who's trying. That's the father she needs. I heard him breathing. I've messed up so bad. You can still fix this, but you have to let them go. You have to let your wife and your mother-in-law and your daughter walk out safely. And then what? I go to jail? Probably. But you'll be alive, and your daughter will know you chose her. You chose to let her live. There was a long pause. I don't want to hurt them. Then don't. Open the door, let them go. Another pause. Then I heard movement. The SWAT commander's radio crackled. We have movement. Front door opening. I watched the monitors. The apartment door opened. A woman stumbled out crying. Then an older woman. Then a little girl. They ran toward the police line. Officers grabbed them and pulled them to safety. Kevin's voice came back on the line. They're out. Thank you, Kevin. Now I need you to come out too. I can't. Yes, you can. I have the gun in my hand. Put it down, Kevin. I can't. Yes, you can. Your daughter is safe. You did the right thing. Now finish it. Put the gun down and walk out. There was a long silence. Then I heard a thud. The gun hitting the floor. I'm coming out. Hands up, Kevin. Walk slowly. On the monitors, I watched Kevin Matthews walk out of the apartment, hands raised, tears streaming down his face. SWAT officers moved in and took him into custody. The scene was secured. I exhaled. It was over. The SWAT commander walked over to me. That was incredible. You just saved 4 lives. Just doing my job. He shook my hand. Thank you. I returned to the command vehicle. My supervisor, SSA Torres, was waiting. Nice work, Rodriguez. Thank you, sir. You know that whole thing is going to be all over the news, right? I know. Your family is going to see it. I know. He smiled. Good. Maybe now they'll shut up about retail. I laughed. By the time I got back to Manhattan, it was 2000 short AM. I checked my phone, 187 missed calls, most from Marco. I had dozens of text messages. Marco, Sofia, what the hell just happened? Marco, I Googled you. There are news articles about you. FBI commendations, crisis negotiation expert. Why didn't you tell us? Marco, please call me. My mother, Sofia, we just saw the news. Is it true? Are you really FBI? My father, Mija, call us. We need to talk. I didn't respond. I went home. I slept for 4 hours. When I woke up, my phone was still blowing up. I finally called my parents. My mother answered immediately. Sofia, oh my God, are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. We saw the news. You were on TV. They said you negotiated a hostage situation. They said you're one of the FBI's top crisis negotiators. That's correct. But you said you worked at Nordstrom. I lied. Why would you lie? Because every time I tried to tell you the truth, you compared me to Marco. You made me feel like my career didn't matter. So I stopped trying. Sofia, we had no idea. You never asked, Mom. You just assumed. My father got on the line. Mija, we're sorry. We didn't understand. No, you didn't, because you didn't want to. There was silence. Then my mother spoke. Can we see you? Please, I'll think about it. I hung up. 2 hours later, Marco showed up at my apartment. I almost didn't let him in, but I did. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept. Sofia, I'm so sorry. For what, Marco? For everything. For years of making you feel small. For telling people you were a failure. For being a complete asshole. I crossed my arms. Go on. After you left last night, those investors asked me about you. They Googled you. They found articles, commendations, awards. One of them said, your sister is a hero and you told us she works retail? And what did you say? I said I didn't know. And they looked at me like I was the biggest idiot in the world. He sat down. I've been thinking about you all night. About how many times I dismissed you, made fun of you, acted like I was better than you. You were. No, I wasn't. I make money, Sofia. That's all I do. I move numbers around on a screen. But you save lives. You stop bad guys. You do things that actually matter. I didn't respond. He looked up at me. Why didn't you tell us the truth? I tried. For years. But every time I mentioned my work, you changed the subject or compared me to your latest promotion. So I gave up. I'm sorry. You should be. He stood up. Can I ask you something? What? Last night. At the restaurant. Did you really have the FBI storm in just to prove a point? Yes. He laughed. That's the most badass thing I've ever heard. I smiled despite myself. Thanks. He extended his hand. Can we start over? I want to know the real you, the FBI agent, the hero. I'm not a hero, Marco. Yeah, you are. I shook his hand. We can start over, but things are going to be different. I know, and they should be. 3 days later, I went to my parents' house. They were waiting for me. My mother hugged me immediately. My father looked like he'd been crying. We sat down in the living room, and for the first time in 8 years, I told them everything. The academy, the training, the cases, the hostage rescues, the tactical operations, the commendations, all of it. By the end, my mother was sobbing. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, Mom. You didn't want to listen. We were so focused on Marco. I know. My father spoke. Mija, I'm so ashamed. I spent years telling you to get a real job, and the whole time you were out there risking your life to protect people. I didn't do it for recognition, Dad. I did it because it's who I am. I know, and I'm sorry it took me this long to see it. We talked for hours. They asked about my work, my life, my apartment, everything. For the first time, they actually listened. Before I left, my father pulled me aside. Sophia, I want you to know something. What? I'm proud of you. I should have said it years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm proud of the woman you've become. I felt tears in my eyes. Thanks, Dad. 1 week later, I was awarded the FBI Medal for Meritorious Achievement for the Newark hostage rescue. The ceremony was at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. My entire family attended. Marco, my parents, even my aunts and uncles. When the FBI director pinned the medal on my chest, my father stood up and saluted. He'd never served, but he saluted anyway. After the ceremony, Marco approached me. He had tears in his eyes. I'm so proud of you, sis. Thanks, Marco. I mean it. I've spent years chasing money and titles. But you've been chasing something that actually matters. We both have our paths. Yeah. But yours is a lot cooler. I laughed. As we left the ceremony, a little girl approached me. She was holding her father's hand. Are you the FBI lady who saves people? I knelt down. I try to help when I can. She handed me a drawing. I made this for you. It was a crayon drawing of a woman in an FBI jacket with the word hero written in big letters. I felt my throat tighten. Thank you. I'll keep this forever. She smiled and ran back to her father. My mother watched the whole thing. That's why you do this, isn't it? I looked at her. Yeah, Mom, that's why. Today my family knows who I am. They know what I do. They can't know all the details. Most of my work is still classified, but they know I'm not working retail. They know I'm not a failure. They know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Marco still makes more money than me. He's now a senior vice president making over $400,000 a year. But he doesn't brag about it anymore. In fact, last month, he introduced me to his new girlfriend. This is my sister, Sofia. She's an FBI agent. She saves lives. He said it with pride. My parents have stopped comparing us. They've stopped asking when I'm going to get a real job because they finally understand. This is my real job, and I'm damn good at it. Last week, I led another hostage rescue. 5 people saved. 0 casualties. The news covered it. My mother called immediately. I saw you on the news. Are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. You're so brave. I'm just doing my job. No, my job, you're doing something extraordinary. I don't need their approval anymore, but I won't lie, it feels good to finally be seen. Subscribe to her mission stories for more tales of women who serve in silence and finally get the recognition they deserve. New story every day. We honor those who risk everything while being dismissed by the people who should support them most. You are not alone. Your work matters. And one day they'll see you too.